All right, we have seen the static positioning, which was kind of anticlimactic. We've seen absolute. We just saw some examples of relative. There's only one left, and this guy is called fixed. And this guy is probably my favorite because it's so cool. How this is going to work, and this is pretty bizarre, is we're going to take an element, of course in our case a div, and apply a fixed positioning to him. And what that means is that the positioning of the element is going to be relative to the browser window itself. So in other words, it's going to be relative to the actual visible screen, the viewport as it's sometimes referred to, inside the browser. So it's not going to be relative to the top left corner of the browser window. It's not going to be relative to the position that it was originally inserted onto the page. It's going to be relative to the actual viewable space inside the browser window. Okay, and there's a lot of cool things that I want to show you here. So this almost goes without saying when you think of it, but when we use the fixed positioning value, the element itself is pulled once again out of this natural or normal page flow. It's going to be pulled out of the normal page flow and it's going to reside on its own. Okay, so I hope this is going to work for us here. I'm sure it will. Let's go and try this guy out. I'm going to go and use my green div. We haven't used him for anything yet, so I'm going to go and apply a fixed position to this fella. So go ahead and look for your green div there. And then, of course, we'll throw on our position, :space, and I'm going to say fixed, just like that. Okay? Now, go ahead and make that change, save your code, flip back over to your browser, and refresh, and a whole lot of nothing happens. Well, other than the actual green div disappearing, in my case anyway. He's gone. Where did he go? Well, here's the deal. Here's the trick. You know those other 4 properties that I had been discussing all the way along here, top, bottom, left, and right? We have to declare at least one of those for this guy to work properly, for fixed to work and function correctly inside our browser window. So I'm going to flip back over to my code, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and throw in at least one of these guys. I'm actually going to make use of 2 of them. I'm going to go top, :space, 5 pixels, and just for simplicity, I'm going to say left, 5 pixels. Okay, there we go. Go ahead and save your code and flip back to your browser, of course, and refresh, and voila, there's my green div. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, I don't quite get it because this is behaving exactly the same way as the absolute positioned value. So in other words, it's positioning itself based off of the top left corner of the page, pushing itself down 5 pixels and over from the left by 5 pixels. Well, you know what? Here's the difference. I hope you have enough content on your page for this to work. I hope you have a scroll bar. What I'd like you to do is start scrolling. This is what fixed is. Notice that the green rectangle, the green box, remains fixed on the screen inside the browser window. So it isn't locked to the page. For example, my alert formatting here is locked to the page. It scrolls with the page content, right? It's flowing inside the document. But the actual green div itself, the fixed element, is locked to the browser window now, not to the page content. So I hope that's working for you. As you can see, it's pretty cool. And maybe your brain is already starting to churn up some different ideas in terms of using a fixed positioning. Now, there's a couple of other neat things that I want to show you, so sit tight and let's continue this conversation on fixed positioning in the next exercise.